Yo, yo, yo. What up? What up? We in here going live on my phone today. Uh, if you in here, let me know if you could hear my audio. I'm trying to go through these headphones. What up, Mid? Is that audio good? It's my first time going live on the phone, so just trying to get this all figured out. I just want to make sure it's going through these headphones and not my phone. I guess it don't matter though, because I'm pretty close to it. Oh, man, it's Friday, bro. We made it. We made it to the end of the week. I don't think I'm awake because my lives don't be jumping like that because people don't know about my lives, and my lives don't be jumping like yours, man. they they ain't coming to see no headshot photography kit, bro. They want ISIS. uh, what up? What up? Oh man, Friday, Friday, Friday. We here. What it do, Hassan? What's going on, man? So for anybody, Fox, what's happening, brother? For anybody watching this replay, obviously this is a live, so it is what it is. You can skip through where you want to skip through. Uh, man, my face feels about 20 pounds lighter though. Dropping that beard, I had to get rid of it, man. It's too much work. Okay. So I got a headshot session in a little bit. So I thought I would go live and break down my on location headshot photography kit because it's a little unconventional. But man, this thing works so good. I love this setup. So I'm gonna just go through and just show you what I have in here and yeah, if you want to rock with it, it's legit. Now I will say the only thing about it is it's big, so you really need to have like a truck or SUV to have this because the base of it is what you can't really see the base, but the base of it is wide and it's big. So if you had a car, it won't fit in the trunk because for whatever reason. So this is it's a Milwaukee Packout. For whatever reason, when they designed this, they designed the handle on the base is too tall, so you can't fit it in a trunk unless you sit it on its back, which is not ideal. And then just trying to put it in the back seat of a car is not very convenient as well. So I have a truck that I put this in, and it works out well. So if you were to have something like this, you would definitely need kind of a big vehicle. But this joint is legit. I'm telling you, this thing is legit. This is I only use this for headshots because for like portrait stuff and that sort of thing, it's a bit much. I use my wagon and just a camera bag for portrait and that kind of stuff. So this is just for headshot because I take so much extra stuff for headshot. So on the top, and the thing about the pack out, it's all modular. So every one of these pieces are its own individual thing, and then they they just clip into each other like that. So I mean, I can configure every one of these minus the base, obviously, but I can configure every one in whatever order I want. So I mean, these things are great. They're not super cheap. They're pretty pricey for what they are, but I mean, from a portability and durability perspective, like this pack out system is legit. Like I got homies here that use it for what it's supposed to be for tools and that sort of stuff. And I mean, they use and abuse these things, and they keep on ticking. So in this first one, modifiers in it. So when I do headshots, I use a 36-inch quick octave for my key light, and then I use a 20-inch deep para for my fill. So I either use, so it depends. Sometimes I'll use the 20-inch deep para for fill. Sometimes I'll actually just use an 8200 with one of those Gary Fong knockoff diffusers, just because it's easy. Like sometimes if I'm on location outside, especially here, you know, the more stuff I start setting up, the more attention I bring to myself. So sometimes I try to just be quick with the setup. So I just do, like I said, do a 36-inch quick octa, and then either the deep pair or just an 8200. I usually use 8200s with the 80B2 for my key light, and then for my fill, I'll just use one of those Zoom Flashpoint Zoom R2s or something like that. They're little cheap manual flashes with the rechargeable batteries. So yeah, so I put my modifiers in here. I put my tripod in here, which I use a tripod, man, probably 80-90% of the time when I'm doing headshots, just because it's easier for me to communicate with the subject that way. So a lot of times it's someone that's not used to being in front of the camera. So I'm constantly having to talk to them, show them stuff. So it's just easier to be able to have both of my hands free. So I typically shoot on a tripod. So I use my little Manfrotto travel tripod. I don't have all the stuff in here because I didn't feel like putting it all in here yet. I mean, I'm going to have to do it in a minute, but I didn't feel like doing it for the live. So I put my modifiers in here, my tripod. I take a reflector. So I put the reflector in here. So basically, this thing is just for things that are too big to fit in the rest of this kit. So it's just real convenient to be able to just throw everything in there. I put my sandbags in here. Like I said, everything that I need that doesn't fit in the kit, I just put it in this crate. And so it's easy because it's on top, put it in there. I can take everything around. This thing is great. So that's the crate. So then the next piece, these next two pieces here is basically a bunch of stuff that I just have to help with the shoot if I need it. And a lot of it is just, it's for the client really. So I mean, I definitely don't want to spill none of this stuff. So I'll try to show it. But like in this one here, I got bobby pins or clothespins. I like to have these because sometimes clients, if their clothes are too big or something's not staying closed, I mean, you always should have clothespins when you're doing headshot stuff. They come in handy all the time. Like I said, you know, if you gotta make something tighter, you can do that and then put a clothespin on it, and then that's gonna stay, and then, you know, doesn't damage the clothes. So I got smaller ones and bigger ones. Then in this next kit, I got these little hair clips, because sometimes the hair just gets crazy, especially if it's windy or a hair clip breaks. So it's always good to have these hair clips. And these are cheap. Like most of the stuff I got from Dollar Tree. So it's all cheap stuff because, you know, I use it one time and then I'll throw it away. Like if a client uses this hair clip, I'm not going to keep it and clean it. I'm just going to toss it. And then got bobby pins. Gotta always have the bobby pins, again, for the hair. You just never know. And a lot of this stuff, guys, it's just things to have that really sets you apart from other people. If you have a client that's doing a headshot and their hair is just crazy, if they don't have anything to fix it, one or two things are going to happen. They're not going to like the way they look because their hair is crazy, or you're going to have to do a lot of post processing to fix it. So the more you can have on location to address that stuff on location, the better. So got those right there. Here, I just got some bigger clips just in case the clothespin or the clothespins or whatever don't work. Or if it's something thick material, I can use these and clip it in. And then also keep this little fingernail clipper, nail file, that sort of thing, because depending upon what's going on, someone's hands are in the shot somehow and they want to manicure that up, they could do that. Then we got some paper clips, because you never know. Some lip therapy, because when you're doing headshots, your lips, man, if your lips are dry, don't nobody want to have no headshot with no dry lips. And I don't want to have to spend time in post trying to fix cracked dry lips. So I keep one of these in here. Again, obviously this is one time use only, so if they use it, they keep it, and I just get another one. And I keep a lighter just in case. Never know what you're going to need a lighter for. Not because they blazing up, but you just never know. So I have that in there. And then here we just got some hair ties, just if they need to tie their, put their hair up or whatever. And then some rubber bands. Always should have some rubber bands. Then over here, so this one I got some empty ones because I put like triggers and that kind of stuff in here. But got AA batteries. Got to keep the AA batteries. And then here I just have a bunch of different cables for phone devices. So I got one for Android. I keep a couple for Apple. I have a USB-C, and then I have a headphone, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So it's always good to just have cables, because if someone needs to charge their phone or something like that, it's just cool to have that. So again, a lot of this stuff is really just meant to make you look like a rock star. If you're on location and the client needs something and you have it, they'll forever remember that. So, it's just cool to have. So that's that kit. So again, like I said, in here, I'll normally put like extra camera batteries. Sometimes I'll put my flash trigger in here. Sometimes I'll put it in another kit. But yeah, I just keep something open just for stuff that I'm taking with me, camera related. So then, what up, Chris? So then this one, so this is a bigger one. So this is the thin profile pack out joint. This is basically the full size one. So the same thing, just deeper, bigger. So in this bin, got some trash bags. Always have trash bags. They could be used for so many different things. Trash, if it starts raining and you need something to cover something up, trash bags come in handy for that. Like, always should have some trash bags. And I just got some Ziploc bags. So what I normally use these for is if I'm on location and the client needs to take something off, I put them in a Ziploc bag so that way we don't lose them. It's like if you just sit them down or put them in something, you could lose it so quick. So I'll put that stuff in a Ziploc bag so in that way we don't lose it. We know exactly where it's at, and all is good. So then in this one, got a little mirror. I have a bigger mirror, but this one's in here because I think I just had it, so I just threw it in here. Got some lens cloths just to have in there. There's a lot of random stuff in this one here. So I keep a couple of these little composition books. This is just for, if I need to write something down, if the client needs to write something down. Obviously, the general theme is none of these have like a specific exact purpose. I just have them just in case, because you just never know. And again, if you need it and you have it, it's great. Then I keep some antibacterial wipes, because in the COVID world, gotta have those. And then have kind of a little first aid kit, so I got some gauze pads in there. Trying to keep this organized as I do this, so that way I don't have to redo it. And then something that's very important, guys, to have is Tylenols, Advil. You want to have them both because people sometimes are funny about it. So I got Tylenol, Advil, got some Pepto Bismol, just in case. Now, I will say, just in case anybody is wondering, if I give anything like that to a client, they do have to sign a liability waiver. So essentially, obviously, this is medication. So if you are giving your client anything of the sort, medication, you absolutely need to have them sign a liability waiver, because if they take one of these and they have an allergic reaction, or they OD because they took 10 of them before, whatever the case, if you give your client one of these and something happens to them, you absolutely can be sued. So you do have to be careful. I wouldn't just offer this up to any old client. It typically would be somebody that I've developed a relationship with, and I feel comfortable giving them something like this. But even still, if you ever give your clients any kind of medication, you have to have them sign a liability waiver. Have to. Okay, so then in here, I just got some of these clips. I have a lot of different clips because you just never know what type of material you're dealing with or what you're going to have to clip up. So this could be used for clothing. It could be used to attach something to a stand. So these are pretty strong, so I keep those. And then I keep some mints because don't nobody be wanting no bad breath, myself included. So I keep mints just in case if I need it or the client is just like, oh, my breath is so bad, I'm like, have this mint because I don't want to be smelling that. And over here, I just got some more of these clips, just some smaller ones. So in the center here, and it's kind of, see if I can prop this up so you could see it. Not really. So in the center here, got some tissues. Always want to have tissues because you never know. The hash is inevitable. So I got some tissues, and then these are very important for. Put this back over here. These are very important for doing headshot stuff. So they're cotton rounds. So people can use these to block their face to get the sweat and oil and that sort of thing. So I use these every time on headshot sessions because if their face is oily, again, that's just going to be more work for me in post because more than likely I'm going to have hot spots due to my flash, and then I got to fix it. I don't want to do that when I can just pull these out, say, hey, blotch your face, whatever. Sometimes the clients will bring like that makeup powder that helps reduce that sort of thing, which is cool. I always recommend they do that. But if they don't, I always have them use these regardless, just to make sure, so that way I just don't have to worry about it. So over here, I just have a speaker because it's always good to have music. I just did a session last week, and she was super nervous, and putting music on changed the whole dynamic. Like it calmed her down. Everything was good. So I always have a speaker so I can play music. In this one here, I basically just have, so this is a rain cover, an actual rain cover for my camera. And I just have like some S-hooks and some carabiners, just because you just never know what you're gonna have to do. So I like to always be prepared. And as I do shoots, if I come across something to where I need something and I don't have it, I put it in my kit. So then I have it going forward. And I keep scissors. Always wanna have a pair of scissors just in case you gotta cut strand off of fabric or whatever. Always wanna have your scissors. All right, and this one here, so I've got some oil absorbing sheets. So if the cotton rounds don't work, then I move to these right here. So just depending upon the client's skin, sometimes I'll go straight to this and have them use this. Sometimes I'll have them do the cotton rounds first. But either way, I keep stuff to reduce that oil because I don't want to have to deal with that. So then I have some bounce wrinkle spray. So that way, if somebody has some wrinkles, we can take care of that. Because again, I don't want to have to do it in post. So we got that. I got some hairspray. Got a Tide stick. Always got to have a Tide stick. Nothing worse than client is drinking their coffee or something, spill something on their shirt, and they're like, dang, fix that. And then I keep some off spray just in case, because if you're out on locations, a lot of times we're out where there's trees, vegetation, that sort of thing. So it just makes the session terrible if you're dealing with bugs. So got the off spray and then some dry shampoo just in case. So these are things that, well, the shampoo and the hairspray, those are things that the client typically would bring their own stuff, but I have them just in case. So that way I have it. So in here, this is for the brothers, little hairbrush, and then some hand cream, because again, like my man Chris was saying, like the ash be real. So we got the hand cream, and then I keep this petroleum jelly skin softener for like that extra dry skin. Because again, I don't want to have to be trying to fix that stuff in post. So I'm always going to try to just keep it on location and hit that. So that's basically what these two things were right here. Like it's just a bunch of stuff that I keep for the client just in case they need it. So if they need it, I got it, and the shoot can keep going. Because if they need this stuff and they don't have it, then they get all self-conscious and stuff, and then that just makes the shoot. I don't even know how I had these things in there. Now I'm gonna have to figure out how I had them in there. Yeah, it just makes the shoot. It changes the dynamic of the shoot. So I try to just have everything. Now I try to figure out. I had these scissors in there. Bear with me. They were nice and tucked in there, but I don't think I'm gonna have to fix that after the live because that'll drive me crazy. All right, so that's those two. So this next one is basically just like a little storage thing. So it's similar to the one that I just had, but the compartments inside of this are different. So in this one, I kind of got some of the bigger stuff. So this is the girl kit right here. So you gotta have this brush because their hair gets crazy, and then I got a bigger mirror, and then just a bunch of combs. Got the Afro pick. Yeah, just a bunch of different combs. Again, these were cheap. You know, these are from Dollar Tree, so they probably would break after the first use, but just keep those just so that way if they need to fix their hair real quick or something like that, I have the kit for that. And then I have some gaffer tape. If you are a photographer, you should have gaffer tape. This is the best stuff ever. Like I use gaffer tape all the time. It's expensive, but the great thing about gaffer tape, number one, it's a fabric tape, so it's easy to tear. Number two, it does not leave residue. I've never had an issue with gaffer tape leaving residue, unless it gets really hot. If it gets really hot, it actually starts to melt. I had gaffer tape around some wires one time to stick them up underneath the desk, and it actually melted the adhesives, and the wires didn't even get that hot, but yeah, it doesn't do too well with heat, apparently. So that's that. Got a lint roller. Got to hit that stuff because what have I been saying the whole live? Like, if you don't, you're going to end up having to get that stuff out in post. Where is the banana boat sunblock? You know what? I have some sunblock in here somewhere. At least I thought I did. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have sunblock somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know where it is. Yeah, okay. And then I have just some little cleaning pad type things just because, and then some masking tape just because. I've never had to use masking tape, but I keep it in there just because. And then I keep a few of these little straps because you just never know. I might need to tie something down or attach something to my kit. Just never know. So it's just it's always good to just have those on location. And then in here, this is kind of my my maintenance kit. So I got a couple screwdrivers in here, some Allen wrenches, a headlamp, just to put some lights, some gauze pads, band-aids, a level. So this is kind of just in case if I need to tighten something up. I got a couple wrenches in here for like my tripods and stuff like that. So basically just in case something comes loose or whatever, I can fix that on location. So that's pretty much what stays in here. Now I'll use the extra space to put stuff, so flashes, that sort of thing. Just whatever I'm taking to the shoot, I'll use the space in here to put that in there. So that's that one. All right, so now we get into the two big ones, and you can't so you can kind of see how this works. Let me lift it up. Right. So this is basically the base. So this is the bottom piece. This is the base. Everything builds on top of this. So then it's got the handle back here that's nice and sturdy, and then like I said, you can put everything on top of it. So in this one right here, this one I was really happy about when I bought this. So this pack out system, it came out like 3 years ago. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I need that for my camera stuff. So this is where I put my camera stuff. So basically what I did was I bought the foam kit for the Pelican 1560 case, because when I got this, I have two of those Pelican cases, and I realized that the size was about the same. So I bought that foam kit and basically just tailored it to fit into this case. So obviously I'm not going to be able to pack a ton of gear in here, but for headshot stuff, I don't need to do that. So I have space for two bodies, two primes, and then I always take a 70-200. So this is just an easy way just to bring that gear. It's nice and protected, easy for me to get to, works out beautifully. So yeah, if you want to have a kit like this, just get the Pelican, the inside for the 15. Actually, man, I can't remember if it was for the 1560 or the 1510. It might have been for the 1510. I would have to look that up to see. I mean, you have to just look at the size. This might have been the 1510, because this feels like it's a little too small to be my 1560, but I don't know. I'll check in a minute. So yeah, that's where my camera stuff goes right there. So it's easy to get to, like I said, nice and protected, safe, and I believe, don't quote me, but I believe these are somewhat waterproof. So even if I did get caught in the rain, even if it's not waterproof, this is going to be better than being in a bag or just being out. So it works out pretty well. So camera goes in there. And then in the bottom here, the bottom is where all the big stuff goes. So has like these little things right here that I put stuff in. So basically in the bottom, I put, you know, my flashes. So I take my 8200s, my 80B2, my flash speed lights. Yeah, I mean, triggers, brackets, all of that stuff I'll throw in the bottom of this right here. And then inside of these right here, I just put smaller stuff. So it just depends. Like I have so much extra space. I don't fill this thing up. So, you know, I kind of just put stuff wherever it makes sense based off of what I'm thinking. So then I put all that in there, and then all of that is good. So then for like my light stands and that sort of thing, I just use a bag that came with, when I bought, a long time ago, I bought this, you guys probably see them on Amazon. I bought like this little lighting kit, like you see them on Amazon. They got like the 3 light kit where it has like the CFL bulbs in it or whatever. So there was a bag that came in. I used that bag to take my light stands and all that stuff. So I normally take 3 light stands, and then I have one of those Westcott boom arms. So I use those all the time. I'm gonna do a video on that because I love using those things, and it took me a while to find one that was actual metal. So those Westcott boom arms, those are the truth. Those are legit. I have a couple of them. So I take that, and then so three light stands, the Westcott boom arm. My tripod normally is in my bin, but sometimes I'll put it in that bag. And then I normally will take a monopod just in case if I don't want to use a tripod. It's just easy to use the monopod, so I'll take that sometimes. And then reflector, I'll put a reflector in the bottom. I normally take I think it's a 24-inch reflector. So again, like being here, a lot of times when I'm shooting on location, I'm in spots where technically I need a permit. So like the one that I just did last week in Culver City, it was just at a park, but you need to have a permit to do any commercial stills photography in almost any park here in Southern California. So I try to not set up too much stuff so that way I don't attract too much attention. But you know, if you set up a 36-inch quick octa, like people going is that all? Is that an all add-on kit, or can you add boxes? No, Hassan, it's all modular. So when you buy, so the base kit is the base and this. Like that's the standard kit that comes with it. So you obviously have to get the base, otherwise you're just gonna be carrying all this stuff. So you have to get the base. So I think the base and this part right here that comes together, I want to say it's like $300 or something like that. Like I said, the pack out stuff is not cheap. I'm telling you that right now. It's not cheap, but it's hella durable. And every time I roll up on a shoot and I'm rolling with this, like especially if I'm doing corporate headshots where I'm showing up like at a business, like it just looks so legit, so official. So you get that base kit, and then everything else you can buy all of this. And I mean, you can design it however you want to design it. You could get whatever you want. I mean, you can stack it as high as you want, but you obviously don't want to stack it too high. But yeah, I mean, aside from the base stuff here, like all of this stuff is individual. So you buy everything individually, and then, like I said, you can put it in whatever order you want. Like, you know, if I want to have this one on the bottom and then that one on the top, like they all just clip into each other. So you can stack them however you want to stack them, whatever makes sense. So it's 100% modular. Like you design it however it works for you based off of what you need. So like I started out having the base and I think this one and the thin one, and then I just recently bought this one because I needed more space to store stuff. So I bought that one, and then I just bought the crate like a few months ago. So yeah, it's all modular. You just do it. Excuse me. You just do it however you want. So, like I was saying, here, you know, a lot of places they require those permits. So I try not to set up too much stuff. So if I can, like if I'm at a park, I typically will set up right where my truck is parked. So that way it doesn't look too commercially, but you know, it's like again when you set up modifiers, like it looks like how it looks. So sometimes if anybody does say something, I'll try to get away with it by saying that it's not commercial. I'll be like, oh no, it's just my friend and I'm just testing, you know, this new lighting setup that I have or whatever. That has worked a handful of times. For the most part, like that will work, but if you, I mean, trying to go anywhere like on private property, man, it's almost impossible. Like there's most private property places here they have security, and security they're on it, man. Like as soon as you set up as much as a tripod, they're out there. So those ones are a little tough because they basically threaten to call the cops, which is not really even a big deal because the way it would even work here, you go somewhere, you technically are trespassing, they call the cops. The cops have to show up, basically formally tell you that you're trespassing, and then you would have to come back again, and they would have to come out a second time to be able to do anything. So essentially, the first time, they're basically just going to say you're trespassing, you need to leave. But when you do this as a business, like I don't want to be a dick, so of course I'm not gonna just shoot anyway. You could, because they really can't stop you. They're not gonna put their hands on you. But it's like I'm not gonna be that guy. So it is tough here from a permit perspective. But normally when I'm doing headshot stuff, I'm either at a park, at the client's home or like their area, or I'm at the business where they work at, whether it's inside or outside on their property. So I typically don't have to deal with it too much. Uh, yes, Chris. So I would definitely say when this thing is loaded up, it's heavy. It's heavy. Like when you get, you got all your camera stuff, you got two 8200s, the 80B2 brackets, all of the stuff that's in these things, the back, like all that is heavy. Like, but I will definitely say the wheels on this thing are pretty good. So it is heavy, but it's not too hard to move around. It is pretty easy to move around, but like if you got to go uphill or you got to take it up some steps, yeah, it's definitely a workout. But I mean, it's a lot better than if you had a wagon. Like imagine trying to go up steps with a wagon. Like you got to just pick the whole wagon up. Whereas this, I can just bring it to the step and pull it up one step at a time or take it down one step at a time. So from a portability perspective, this is way better than a wagon to me. I don't use this for like portrait stuff though, just because it's kind of cumbersome to move around. I mean, it's just it's big, so it's real good for my headshot stuff though. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so that is about all there is with that. So how y'all doing on this Friday, man? Nah, no, no, no. I use a wagon. I have a wagon. I definitely have a wagon. I use a wagon for every other type of shoot that I do, just not headshots. And like the main reason I use this for headshots is because I have all the stuff. Like there's just no way to have all of this stuff just floating in a wagon or just putting it in a bin. Like this is just way more organized for my own location stuff. So like headshots is really the only time when I'm needing all of this stuff. Like for portrait stuff, I still take some of this stuff. Like even when I do portraits, I still have clips to clip clothes, and I still have like things for hair and that sort of thing. But I don't have like all of this stuff because typically for portrait stuff, it really wouldn't matter. Like if you had something on your shirt, like I'm not in tight in every shot, so it's like if I gotta edit that out, that's no big deal. And basically, like on all of my headshot stuff is really like a loss leader for me as a business. I technically lose money on headshots when I take into account the amount of time that I put into the session. I technically lose money on every headshot. Obviously it's not a true losing money because it's not costing me money to do the shoot, but in terms of like the amount of time that I put into a shoot from start to finish, I basically lose money on every headshot session. So I try to minimize the amount of time that I have to do any editing or any outside work on a headshot because I'm already losing money as it is. So I would rather spend 10 seconds, 15 seconds to fix something on location than end up having to spend 5, 10 minutes after the fact fixing it in post, and I'm just losing more money. So that's why I really use this for headshot, and then for everything else, like it doesn't matter. Like I don't do the same level of editing on portrait stuff or engagement stuff as I do headshots. Like headshots, I do the most because obviously it's just their head. Second would be like my senior stuff. I definitely do more post processing on senior stuff because that's a once in a lifetime event as well. So I mean, a lot of times like those senior pictures will be on someone's wall forever. So I do a lot of post work on senior stuff. Everything else, Obviously I edit and I do post, but it's just not as much. So, um, yeah, so it's the Milwaukee Packout, and they bring out new stuff all the time. I mean, they've got just this past couple years they've released some new stuff. They have a radio that clips in, but my little speaker works just fine. And that radio, I think it's like $350. So I'm like, nah, whatever. Very true, Dave. It definitely is expensive. I don't know the full cost on this. Like I said, I know the base I think was like 300. I know this middle one right here was like 50 or 60. This one was like 50 or 60. That crate was 40. So I mean, all in all, I mean it's probably, man, a good 500 or 600 bucks like just for the pack out, which is, that's expensive. That definitely is expensive. Like it's nowhere near as cheap as a wagon or a bag, but you can't beat the customization of it and the organization of it. So being able to just have everything in these different things. It's like if I need something down here, I mean I can just unclip it here, pull all that off, get to it. Like it's just easy. And like I said, if I show up to a corporate headshot session with this, like they just think that I know everything there is to know in the world. Like they've just never seen a photographer showing up with a kit like this. So those little small things that you can do to impress your clients, it goes a long way because the photographer market is so saturated. So just even those small things that seem insignificant can set you apart. And considering that I'm definitely not a cheap photographer, I can't be showing up with some raggedy stuff and then charging the prices that I'm charging. Like that's just, it's just not a good look. So anything that I can do to set myself apart from the competition, I'll definitely do. But I'm a big Milwaukee fan also. Like I only use Milwaukee stuff because it's just one of my best friends here. He used to work for a company that they are like crazy hard on tools. Like it just doesn't even make any sense how hard they are on tools. And so they live and die by Milwaukee stuff because it works, it lasts, and they beat it up and it still lasts. So I take care of this stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's like once in a lifetime thing, really. Yeah, real big on the construction scene, man. Like electricians, real big, plumbers. I mean, man, if you go on Instagram, man, there's an Instagram page. I can't remember what it's called. The pack out is in the name, but man, you see some crazy setups of how people have their pack outs, like in their vans and stuff like that. Like people have some crazy setups with these pack outs for sure. Light stands. So my sandbags go in my crate. My light stands, I just have a bag that I put the light stands in, and I usually just either drape it over this, or I will use carabiners to attach it to the top of the crate. Um, let's see here. Sorry, I got a text and was seeing what it was. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, most of my clients have never really even, they don't even really know what a pack out is. Like they've never really even seen it in general. So they just think it's, sometimes they're just like, what is all that? Because like to them, like headshots are like there's nothing to it. Like to them, it should just be simple and easy. So when I show up with this whole kit, it makes them a little nervous because they're just like, well, what do you have? Like, what is in there? Why do you need all that stuff? Um, yeah, Hassan, I would definitely say this would be a kit for like you do photography like full time because just the cost of it. I mean, unless you just had the money to blow, the cost of the kit itself is just, it's a bit much for somebody that's just doing this as a hobby. So I invested in it because I do this full time. I have a business, so obviously this was a business write off for me. Um, and I, like I said, I'm a big Milwaukee fan, so I just really like it. But yeah, if you were a hobbyist, this would be overkill. Um, let's see. Yeah, so that basically is that. There's not really. I was trying to think if there's anything else, just headshot wise, just to keep this live, just about headshots. I don't know if any of you guys do headshots. Um, so yeah, basically have the kid show up. I can set up pretty quick with this. So I typically, obviously being in SoCal, like traffic sucks, right? So I spend a lot of time getting to and from locations. So I try to have it to where I can get everything set up in 10 minutes, which is pretty easy because, like I said, I use my 36-inch Octa as my key light. So I basically just set up my ADB2. Well, I actually just did that for the first time last session. Normally I would just use one 8200 because that's normally enough. But this last one I did, set up the ADB2, put that on there. Boom, that light stand's good. Set up another light stand, put my flashpoint speed light on there, put the diffuser on there. That one's good. Oh man, so I forgot to mention, uh, always shoot tethered. So that's where this comes in handy too, because once I have all this stuff on, I'll take the crate off and then I set my laptop on the top. So then that way I can shoot tethered. And that works out really well for me for a couple reasons. Number one, I allow the clients to see the pictures as we're doing it. It's just easier to see it on the laptop versus on a phone. But the second thing is it allows the clients to pick out their images right on location. So as I'm packing all this stuff up, they're going through the pictures, picking out what they want. So that way, I capitalize on that time. So instead of coming back home and then having to send them something and then wait for them to let me know what they need, I just let them pick them right on location, and then I just do the financial stuff right there on location. So I try to just knock it all out there, and then I come home. Depending on how many other sessions, basically whenever I get home, since I know which ones they want, I go ahead and get those things edited up and I get them sent back same day, just to get it out the way. Because headshots, typically I'm only doing now, obviously for like corporate jobs where you have a lot of people, that's different. But just for like the single person, they're typically only buying one, two, three images at most. Like they typically aren't buying a ton. So I would rather just get those done, get them sent out. They're impressed that they literally get their images back same day. For me, I'm able to close that out. That person is done, move on to the next. So it just works out really well. Um, okay, so would I recommend an 8200 for outdoors? I have used just one 8200 outdoors for headshots for a long time. The only reason this last shoot I did I used the 80B2 and I used two of the 8200s only because I knew the location. It was early in the morning, so I knew the light was going to be harsh in the background, but the client really wanted an environmental headshot. So I knew I had to include the background in it. So I knew I was going to have to use a three-stop ND filter to bring down the ambient. So because of that, I didn't want to get in a situation where I either didn't have enough power or I was going to be shooting at full power. Like I don't like shooting at full power because number one, recycle times are going to be slower. Ryan, don't even start talking about that 83. I knew it. I didn't even look down yet. I knew there was going to be something in there from you talking about that 8300. So I either don't want to run out of power. I don't want to have to shoot at full power just because of recycle time slows things down. So for most headshot stuff when I'm on location, so let me say like when I'm on, so I do two different types. Like I either do a studio style on location or I do an environmental. Now, if I do a studio style, I basically use a Westcott 5 foot by 7 foot background. So it's white on one side, black on the other side. And that works out really well because if I want it to be white, I can just light it. And so it's pure white. Or if I want it to be gray, I can just pull my subject off of it a little bit and I can get that to be gray. Or if I need black, I can just flip it around and go black. If the client wants any type of color, I have quite a few seamless papers, but I don't use those usually because seamless paper is a pain to travel with and set up and all that. So I typically only use seamless if I'm indoors. Outdoors, I'm not going to use seamless because that's just way too much setup. I'm not doing all that. So when I'm doing like the studio type headshots outdoors, an 8200 is more than enough because I'm not dealing with the ambient that I'm having to really worry about. So that one 8200 works flawless. Never had an issue. Like I've done headshots with speed lights even, and it's not a problem. Using the 36-inch modifier, the 8200 works better, but 8200 for most of my headshot stuff, especially indoor, but outdoor, most of it more than sufficient. If I'm dealing with the ambient and I gotta have that in my scene, then yeah, I'm probably gonna use my ADB2 and basically use two 8200s. So hopefully that answered that question. And then for my headshots, I only use Lightroom and Photoshop. I have been an Adobe guy for a long time. Like I don't know if you guys ever use Adobe Audition, but Adobe Audition used to be a program called Cool Edit. Man, I remember I had Cool Edit 96. So and then Adobe ended up buying it and turned it into Audition. So I've used Adobe products for a long, long, long time. Uh, you know, they're not perfect. I'll definitely say that they're not perfect, but I'm kind of the type of person to where it's like if I'm using something and it works, I stick with it. Like I don't really jump and try all this different stuff because then I have to learn a whole new process, a whole new workflow. And it's like if the workflow that I have and whatever I'm using, if it works, doesn't have to be perfect, but if it works, then I stick with it because I don't want to always introduce new stuff into my workflow. Like I try to get very efficient because time is money. So I try to be very efficient with what I do. So if I have something and it works, I stick with it. So I've used Adobe products for a long, long, long time. So I continue to use those. All of this other stuff, quite frankly, I'm not really interested in it because I'm not interested in like this AI editing stuff. It's like I people could look at it and say it's a way to save time. For me, it's like I am not going to take my creative control and just flip it into just using AI. So now my stuff looks like everybody else is using those softwares and those applications. I don't have any interest in that. So I don't jump around and do all that stuff. Like I contemplated switching to Capture One just because Adobe didn't have the profiles for the R5, but I never even did that because I just didn't want to learn a whole new workflow. So um, I will say though, the masking in Lightroom, if you haven't used it, it's the truth. Like it's definitely the truth. Like for me, where I really, really, really like it is the stuff that the new masking allows you to do. I was already doing in Lightroom anyway, but I was having to use the brush tool. So sometimes if I needed to bring up the exposure on my subject, like if I'm shooting natural light, and so I expose for the ambient, so my subject's a little dark, so I got to bring up the exposure on my subject, no problem. Um, I would do that, but I'd have to use the brush tool, and just like carefully go around. And you had to be super careful because you wanted to make sure you didn't get any halo around your subject. So I would do that anyway, but it would take forever. With this new masking with like the select subject, man, it's I'm surprised at how good it is. Like it's really good, and I mean it even does good with the hair. Like if you haven't used it, just take some images in there and just play around with it, man. I'm telling you, like it's the truth, and it definitely saves me a lot of time. And then you can select the subject and just inverse that mask. So then, if you needed to just bring down your ambient around the subject, you just select subject, invert, do your stuff. It's solid, man. I'm telling you, like it's crazy. It's the truth. Uh, yeah, man. I just it's like when you have something that you're used to and it works, man. You just stick with it, So I remember I used Capture one time when I was shooting tethered with the R5, and the R5 or the tethering in Adobe was broke after a Mac update. And I mean, it was cool. I liked it, but it was something different. So I was just like but I do think Capture One is fast, man. Like Lightroom, no matter how many updates they do, and they say they've improved performance. I just Lightroom is it's better, but it just I don't know. It still is a bit clunky sometimes. And the spot healing in Lightroom, I don't know if Capture One has a spot healing, but the spot healing in Lightroom, trash. Like I don't even know how everything else could be as good as it is, but that spot healing brush, like you literally could do something, and it's like it should just sample literally from right below it or right next to it. It'll literally jump all the way on the other side of the image, something that isn't even remotely close to what you're trying to heal. Spot healing is just trash in Lightroom. Like they gotta do better on that. Man, Ryan, does Photoshop have that? I mean, they definitely have this. Yeah, I mean, they have the select stuff. Yeah, I would say Photoshop has it, but being able to do the edit right in Lightroom is man, that's a time saver. Like versus having to do my base edits, then go edit in Photoshop, do the stuff in Photoshop, save it, go back, finish it up in Lightroom. It's just easy to just be able to do it all in Lightroom. And I mean it does really good. Like I wasn't even expecting the masking to work as good as it did. Like I was thinking it was gonna be like so, but it definitely is pretty solid. And then like Capture One, now you can have the masking is basically layers essentially. So yeah, I mean they kind of took that from Capture One obviously because Capture One has always had the layers. But that's just what's cool about that masking now. So basically, it's layers. So you can have a mask, and then you can add and subtract to that mask and name it, and then do another mask, do another mask. So, I mean, for what it is, if you're a Lightroom user, the masking is legit. Obviously, if you're a Capture One user, you probably had some of the stuff already. Uh, but for us Lightroom users, it's like it's definitely legit. So, um, yeah, Adobe they do have the profiles for the R5, R6, 1DX3. I think they still left off the RP though. I don't know I don't know why, but I don't think that they did the profiles for the RP. Got the profiles for the R3 though. Cameron is not even shipped yet, but no, I don't think they did that RP. But yeah, they finally got those, which was legit because the Adobe colors, man, trash. Like probably for every camera. Maybe not Sony, because Sony colors are trash anyway, so they probably can't mess those up. uh, but yeah, for Nikon and Canon, man, the Adobe profiles, if you were using those, you would think that the colors out of Canon and Nikon's was terrible. Yeah, man, I don't even really think you could micro dodge and burn in Lightroom, Ryan. That would be I mean, you technically could, but man, that wouldn't even work because the more brushes that you have in Lightroom, I mean, it definitely slows it down. Like Photoshop, I mean, I've had 100 plus layers in Photoshop and it doesn't miss a beat. Like Photoshop is it's a beast. So yeah, that is that. I'm gonna have to jump off here in a few minutes so I can get ready to go do this thing. But I had to I bring this out anyway, so I just thought I would just go live for my Friday chill and chat and just roll with the kid. So yeah, definitely appreciate y'all rocking with me. I'm on the phone. I don't know. I might use the phone to go live going forward because this was way easier than doing my whole camera setup. So I might use the phone going live. You don't use Photoshop at all, huh? I mean, I wouldn't use Photoshop for weddings. There's too many images, man. Like I don't shoot a lot of weddings. Like I've shot a few, but I'm just not a big fan of shooting weddings. But I definitely could say like when you're doing volume like that, you can't focus on trying to fix every little thing in every little image. Like it would take you forever to get done with that work. Like especially since typically wedding stuff is it's a package, right? So it's not like you're getting paid per image. Like if you're getting paid per image, then you could compensate for your time to do like these crazy edits or whatever. But when you have volume like that, where you're having to deliver hundreds of pictures, like when I do event stuff, like I'm not going in and fixing every little distraction when I'm doing event stuff because it would just take too long. It's like I would be losing money on that as well. Like it would take too long to do those kind of edits on that volume of photos. So you just have to basically just do like your high level edits, make sure that your color looks good, your light looks good. If there's something that's like super distracting, okay, fix that. But when it comes to volume, you got to just be quick. You just got to get that stuff done and get it out. And clients, for the most part, are not even going to notice the stuff, the little minor stuff that you would have fixed anyway. Like I remember when I first started, that was one of my biggest problems was that I would get so caught up on trying to fix every little thing in the image, and I would look at it when I was done and I'd be like, man, this looks great, but it took me a half an hour to edit one picture. Like that's just way too long. Like I can't, if I got to deliver 20 images, like I can't spend that much time on just one. So you have to get to a point where it's like you cool with basically just doing your high level stuff and then moving on to the next. Like no one's really gonna know, and if they do, they do. That's just the risk that you have to take. You can't spend all that time trying to fix everything. So yeah, he said to show off. Like that's what I say. I never use Photoshop for anything that's not client stuff, just because it takes some time. But I feel you. You want to show off. I feel you. Your work look good, so I dig it. Yeah, retouching. I mean, Ryan, you do all that crazy retouching. I really don't. I don't really do any retouching at all, just because time. Again, it's time for me. It's like I got to get this stuff done as quick as possible, so I could either do another session or do more marketing or something else. It's like I just to spend 2 hours doing retouching just one photo. It's like I can't do that. I don't even think I would have the patience to do that. Like that's a lot to me. Like I don't know. I just don't get too much into the retouching stuff. It's like at the end of the day, obviously if it's like beauty stuff, I get it. So clearly, like if it's a beauty shot or makeup shot, something like that, yeah, like they want that flawless look. But outside of that, I'm just like you look how you look. Like I mean it is what it is. Like I'll do stuff to minimize things so that way like it doesn't jump off your screen, but it's like you are who you are. You look how you look. It's like I don't have the time to try to make you look different than what you are, especially like for headshot stuff. Like people be wanting some crazy stuff for headshots, and I'm just like I'm not doing that because number one, like you need to look how you look. Like if you're 50 years old and you want me to look like you're 25, like when people see you in person, they're gonna see you as 50. Like it doesn't make sense for me to try to make you look 25 in a picture and then when people see you, you look nothing like. Like I don't do that stuff. Like I turn that stuff down. If clients want that, I refuse, and if they absolutely want it, I send them somewhere else. I don't do those crazy edits. I just don't believe in doing that. So yeah, it's like do your makeup however you want it done. Like I said, I'll fix some minor stuff, or if it's something that like something that I fix a lot is eyes. Like most people's eyes are not even. Like they're not even in terms of like the level on your face, and a lot of people like one eye is bigger than the other. Like most people have that issue. Like you don't notice it because you don't be paying attention to people's eyes like that. But a lot of people's eyes they're not symmetrical. So that's probably the biggest thing that I fix like with headshot stuff is it's nothing drastic, but I basically fix it enough to where people don't notice it. Because like when you're looking at a picture, you're analyzing everything differently than how you would if you were just talking to someone. Like if you're just talking to them, there's so much other stuff going on, you're not paying attention. But when you're looking at a picture, there's nothing else to look at but the picture. So you start noticing stuff. So I don't do anything crazy, but I will fix the eyes just to even them out enough so that way like you can't tell if one is bigger than the other or whatever. So I do just enough. But that's about the extent of really what I do. Like I'll minimize stuff so that way it doesn't draw attention, but I'm not getting rid of it. It's like, if you got wrinkles, you got wrinkles. I'll reduce them, but I'm not getting rid of them. You got them. If your skin's not great, I'll reduce it a little bit, but it's like I'm not gonna make your skin look hella smooth when that's not the way that it looks in person. It's like I just don't do that. Like that's just me. I just don't do that. Yeah, red eyes, man. I really I haven't really like you probably mean like red eyes like smoking weed type red eyes and not like red eye where you needed the red eye reduction like back in the day when you used the on camera flash. Yeah, I typically don't do much with the eyes because again, like nobody's eyes are bright white. Nobody's teeth are bright white. Like so I'm not there's no point in having a picture that way when it's like nobody's stuff is like that unless it's fake or they got their teeth bleached to hell. Like they don't look like that. So I don't edit the stuff like that. Like I try to make them look like how they look in person. And I'll light them, based off of the client, I'll light them certain ways to make them appear younger. So again, I don't have to do any work. But man, that's the extent of this. Like I can't be doing more than that. Okay, folks. I appreciate you rocking with me. I definitely got to get off here so I can get to this shoot. So yeah, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. I'm gonna try to not try because mid will get me if I say try. I'm going to do these lives every Friday around this time. So I'm trying to get consistent with the time, just so that way it's easier for me and for anybody that wants to tune in. They know. So right around 9 o'clock California time, 12 o'clock Eastern time, and whatever in between is when I'm going to try to hit these lives. So yeah, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Have a great Friday, great weekend, and I will holler at you guys later. Peace.